Welcome to Sideline2Baseline with your hosts, MB and K. Lou. We in the building. Hey, look, Inglorious Staffers. So you already know, baby. Matt getting all the love right now. I think Aaron Andrews or one of the reporters were talking about how she, when he got traded, she told him she'll, just save an interview for her for the big one, and that was pretty cool. Because not all the time, do the press let you in on the fact that sometimes they have they favorites as well. So that was pretty cool. I thought lighthearted, double or nothing, baby. So I don't even know where he coming through with that. You want
Either does he.
and the Haven finally over it. He's a champ. He's a champ either way, the Haven. I told you that last week. I'm gonna keep saying it, man. I'm gonna give you respect when respect due. But it's basketball season, the Haven. So
y'all don't want to know my basketball team. I'm an Orlando Magic fan, so y'all don't want to know my basketball team.
I'm gonna ignore MB and say, how about the Blue Devils? We'll go straight to it. I like the way we getting we got a few early losses. We lost to y'all. I see. I'm one of those guys in basketball. I don't like going undefeated or losing very few games if you're in the NBA, depending on what I'm talking about. But college, it scares me when you and 0 and 1 and 2. Like, I think that's a setup for the tournament. So, the fact that I think we lost 3 or 4 games, I think it is. 3.
Yeah, I'm a big basketball fan too.
I'd actually like probably 2 to 3 more losses, and I think we'd be good.
Miami's 3 and 4 since we beat you.
Yeah, y'all won, y'all natty. That happens to a lot of teams that beat us. You win your natty there, you hang that trophy on the wall, and then you one of them that say, well, we should have won the national championship because we beat them, and they beat everybody else.
We beat you and Carolina. That was like, okay, year's over now.
yeah.
Carolina terrible though. I can't. It's hard to even watch them, which is good, but it's just sad that the rivalry kind of lost its luster, getting beat by 20 like that.
Well, they were never in the game. I watched that. My wife and I watched that in its entirety. Actually, to say they were, 20 points, it really should have been 35 or so. But they were still hitting big shots. Believe it or not, I know that sounds odd with the score so lopsided, but the big shots actually kept it from 40.
Right.
Miami blew them out too, so that they're in poor shape.
Yeah. They had a transfer to me. Now they're saying the other big is the best guy on the team, but the transfer from Oklahoma, he's the best to me. But they give it to the other guy that's he rebounds a whole lot. But I ain't even mean to go off on this tangent. I'm gonna leave basketball alone because we looking real good. I'll just say that, and I'm gonna cut to the fact that when we spoke last, we talked about Brian Flores and the black coaching and executive search, and Roger Goodell is saying what normally is said during these times when this stuff comes out every few years. Hey, we're going to address it. We're going to talk about it in the league meetings, MB. And so he did that pitch. But quietly what's happening now is I think teams are starting to force the issue. And I'm going to get right on our guys, MB, the Giants. Because when I heard the name Brandon, I can't think of his last name, but I was like, okay, that's a black dude. So I guess that erases what just happened. They brought in an assistant general manager from Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. From Philly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that guy has moved up the ranks and done a great job, allegedly coming from that side. And he got the job as assistant general manager. So MB and I, coming from there, we like, huh? I said, who? Assistant GM. And I immediately looked up my namesake, Kevin Abrams. Like, immediately, MB, I went to that and I saw oh, he got a raise and a higher position. And then I searched a few more articles, MB, and one of the articles and basically said, yeah, they're gonna have to figure out what that job entails. So, man, it makes his story even more credible when you make a move like that, MB.
Yeah, for you got to explain who Kevin Abrams is.
So Kevin Abrams has been in the program since probably like 98, 99-ish, somewhere like that. He was the assistant general manager. He was always the numbers guy. And, you know, New York, it's a real family. They do a tremendous job. When you're in, you're in. It's that kind of thing. That's why, you know, everybody was shocked when Dave Gettleman got another opportunity after, you know, having, you know, a quick success at Carolina and then plummeting quickly. It's like, how does he do that? Well, he had been in that organization for 30 years, maybe more, MB. And so, you know, he got a shot. Well, Kevin is in that. He's been with the program, you know, what is that, 23, 24 years or so, depending on if he came in 98, 99-ish or whatever.
He came in 99.
Okay, 99. So, I mean, he's family. So they don't really get rid of family. And, you know, they're being accused of being, you know, biased on hiring practices. They had a general manager there who won him a Super Bowl, and 3 years later?
Two.
Yeah, 2 Super Bowls, and it wasn't 3 years after the second one.
He was gone.
Talking about Jerry Reese.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember what year he was gone.
I don't think it was a long time after. Like,
yeah.
But you know, he jumped on the
2017. He was gone his last year.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
I'm looking. I'm looking at Kevin's stuff. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, he jumped on the sword for him, and I just look back and I immediately think about what I did. I didn't look up any information about the guy that was coming in. I looked to see what they do with the other guy that he's basically replacing. And when I saw he got promoted, I was like, dang, y'all, that makes Brian Flores' story look even more believable, because you bring somebody in of color, you bring a guy of color in, and then you basically say, hey, you didn't lose your job. You actually been doing such a great job that we're going to, promote you. And then I'm like, okay, what's his job and what's his job now? Both of them. I'm like, for the new assistant GM coming in, and then for Kevin Abrams, like, what do y'all do now? Because I'm reminded of Tony Dungy. I watched him interview he did. No, it wasn't Tony Dungy. Who was that? MB said we just spoke with them. Either we spoke with them or I saw it on something where he said, "Oh no, it was Hugh Jackson." I watched one of Hugh Jackson interviews, and Hugh said, "It's not. You don't have set power or set jobs. It's whatever your contract says. So, about who's helping pick players and who's making final decisions on depth charts and stuff like that. Because I just automatically thought that's part of a head coach's job. But Hugh Jackson said, no, it's whatever your contract says. So then I wanted to see, what does Kevin Abrams and what does the new assistant GM contract say? That's what I want to read. I'm more interested in what their contract says.
They're calling it a demotion. The Giants themselves, they're actually calling it. The Giants general manager Joe Schoen said he likely would stick around even with a demoted role.
Who's that?
That's what the general manager Joe Schoen is saying. He's calling it a demotion.
Well, tell me this:
did he just get hired?
Where did he just got hired? Executive vice president of football operations.
I know it sounds like a promotion compared to assistant GM.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That sounds like you just graduated to another room. If you
There ain't
ask
no
me.
assistant in his name. Like,
There ain't no number on the amount of executive vice presidents you could have on your organization.
Hey,
Yeah.
and I believe you, and that's why I think the position was created. It was you haven't done anything, but
We
almost
need to cover up this mess.
Yeah.
It's reactionary, and if it gets to a judge or a mediator, they'll look at it. They'll look at the contracts like, oh, you guys reacted. You hired this guy because you're trying to fix the problem that you're saying didn't happen. So you you just admitted that you're guilty to begin with, or at least in the court of public opinion, right? And at the same time, you paid a guy who's your current employee. You gave him a promotion and you gave him a pay raise.
Right.
Well,
and what does that say to Mr. Brown too? I mean, think about it. He gets his first shot in like a reactionary role. That's going to kind of taint. Does he get credit then for success moving forward if he's the assistant?
Jason, because of the position that African American coaches, executives are in, you can't say no to it.
You can't turn it down.
Yeah,
that's the double.
I know. That's
So you see what I'm saying?
It's double
and
unfair.
Hugh Jackson spoke about that too. Hugh is if y'all got any chance, listen to Hugh Jackson interviews. They're unbelievable. And I think what he does, and it seems like Cleveland thinks he's taking shots. I don't look at it like that. He's really trying to uncover the dilemma that black coaches and executives are in. They just can't, even though that's a horrible situation, you don't even know what you're getting yourself into. You may be, just a scout guy. They just got the scouts reporting to you, and that's all you're doing. And then you ain't even in the room anymore. But you have to take it because you got to take it and try to make this into an opportunity to moonlight, as a GM, as a head guy, or else you don't get this shot again. It'd been awesome, probably MB to have Ray discuss and talk about.
Yeah, you should get him on.
Yeah,
I think people in Cleveland kind of tune out Hugh Jackson because he named Tyrod Taylor over Baker Mayfield on Hard Knocks. So I think that's really the reason why they think anything that comes out of his mouth, they see it as taking shots.
Right.
I mean, I'm saying he has a good point, but I'm saying if Cleveland doesn't like what he's saying, that's going to be why. But that's double unfair for Brown. I mean, what are you going to do? Like you said, you got to say yes, but now you're what you've worked so hard for is this half position.
Well, that's why I said I'm stealing a page out of Hugh's book. What does his contract say?
That's all that matters. The title means nothing.
Yeah.
You see that? That's not public, is it?
No.
It won't be unless that whatever Flores is doing gets that shown in the light of day, with a mediator or an arbitrator. So, but that'll be a long time before you see those contracts.
Mm-hmm. I think he kind of shot himself in the foot on that interview with Greenberg when he interrupted Greenberg when he said, "Oh, it looks like your opinion is there's still some problems in the hiring process in the NFL," and he interrupted him and said, "And the firing he just made it seem like every valid point he had made that whole interview. When he interjected it and said "and fire," it just made it seem like sour grapes. If you watch the clip, I still see it.
But Jason, that's okay though. You can tell the truth and be sour about it. You know what I'm saying?
He is. He's telling the truth and he's being sour about it. I promise.
You though? It's still the truth. It sucks that it happened, especially him obviously having to go through it. But I think what was most important is how he tried to explain how it is to be them. And then it kind of validated and pushed forward the narrative that Brian Flores has put out there. And then to me, and we'll go right into this because you guys are talking about it when we came on, but to see the Giants react like that out of nowhere, right? And then to see all of a sudden the Texans give a guy a shot that's been on their staff, the whole time. That just, it actually makes it seem even more true.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, but in in Houston, I mean, wasn't the previous coach? He was a minority as well, was he not?
Yeah, he was David Culley.
Was
so
it
that
David
one-
Collins was he?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I mean,
David Culley. He was just light skinned.
yeah. So it just doesn't. I don't know that they. I don't know. I don't know that they pulled the trigger on that. But another thing is, what if you're Brian Daboll? I mean, he's been, the next big thing like Eric Bieniemy for several off seasons, just the same. Could you imagine being him at the center of all this now? How does he take that? How does he take that role? And what any success he would or would not have with the Giants moving forward is now going to be clouded by this for a long time.
Yeah.
Anybody agree or?
Well, again, I'm stuck on the point where, he's going to be my right-hand man. Usually you don't say that at positions on that level. Like, that sounds like, my homeboy coming to help me out. Like, in a secondary, a truly lower role that you just kind of like hold in the water or something, like, to me. But, sometimes, it's hard to read into stuff sometimes when you see that.
You said, I'm sorry,
somebody
Caleb,
said
you
that?
said who said he was going to be my right-hand man? I missed that part.
He said something similar to that. The
Abram?
new GM.
Oh, the new guy said
Yeah.
that.
The new GM. Yeah.
About who?
And Brandon Brown
Brandon
will be his
Brown.
right-hand man.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And just a little nugget, you guys know, Miami coach the new coach they hired is technically considered a minority because he's biracial.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he slammed that. Did you see that article on him?
Yeah, he came from the 49ers, so he's technically
Right.
biracial. So they could consider him a minority coach.
Right.
But did you see that article before he got hired where
Yeah,
they got slammed trying to say, oh, another white guy getting a job, and he like replied on the Twitter, and he's like,
Nah.
actually not. Yeah, that was pretty rough.
I want to back up on the Flores thing. I think you got to start with the first part. I think he was blindsided by getting fired.
Yeah.
I think that, the fact that he had that success, regardless of what, the turmoil, with over Deshaun or with Tua or whatever, I think he was just, to this day, he's shocked that he got fired and he lost his team, that the GM kept his job, and that he didn't. So, that I think there, you got to read into that a little bit. Now, whatever happened in New York and whatever happened back in Denver back in the day, yeah, he pulled the carpet on that. He said, I'm gonna air the laundry and I'm gonna tell the secrets. And and there's no doubt I'm sure telling the truth. So
yeah, you would not make up being offered money to tank out of nowhere.
No.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I can't think anybody would.
But if the NFL was serious, they would have made sure Flores got that Texas job, and that's how you clean up a mess. And but he didn't want that job. He wanted New York. You guys wanted him in New York, right?
that's where he's from. I think he's from New York. I think.
Yeah, I think he's from New York. But so let's circle back to this Kevin Abram thing now. Play devil advocate, and I definitely understand what picture you're painting. But looking at his bio, right? I mean, this is last time he got passed up for the job, right? Right. With Dave Gettleman, they created a position. They made him vice president of football operations / assistant GM. So it's the same position. Now all they did was add a senior to it. So could they say? Because I think you said Double A, they could use that against the Giants, but they could probably say, man, we just see this guy as a salary cap guy. He's not really a football guy.
And that's the truth.
Yeah,
that's
right.
the truth.
But I'm just saying, though, still, that don't make, you talking about that's the truth that he's a salary cap guy?
No, that's how they see him. I'm not saying that he doesn't have abilities other than that. But, that's the truth, I'm saying, from their perspective.
So do you think that, in the sense of that, this guy want to get this guy. I don't know Brandon Brown. I was trying to see if he had if he had worked with this guy before, the general manager before, which I can't find if he did or not. But I'm just saying, I think somebody mentioned that so they could say, no, we just see this guy as a salary cap guy. And
we paid it. We gave him a raise.
Last time we bypassed him, we created a position for him, made him vice president of football operations. Now we passed on him, we made him senior vice president situation because we don't want to lose him, What's your thoughts on that? I think you were saying that double A, they can use that against him, but they can use that as their defense.
If he's got a real role and he's been there for 20 something plus years and he's the cap expert, you know, you can create as many titles as you want. But you know, I was reacting more to what K. Lou said, that you know they gave him a bump and a raise and he should have really been getting the big job. But he might not be cut out. He might not have the football skills to take what this guy Brandon's taking. The comment I don't like is from the head guy saying he's going to be my right hand man.
Right.
That's an old trope if you really want to call it what it is, you know.
Right.
So,
does he have any kind of? I completely understand the old trope part, but maybe he didn't. If he, maybe he's just caught up in something and he was just trying to be complimentary. Who knows? He's not the villain here, right?
No, nobody's saying that, but it's saying again, it goes back to what does Brandon Brown's contract say he's going to be doing?
What's his real job?
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's not like a knock on the new GM for saying that. It's more so that puts it like, is he really gonna be the assistant GM? Like, or is this, and I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna jump out and say this. The devil's advocate, MB, to that is, well, you complain when they're not doing it, and you're complaining while they are doing it. And that's the whole point of the NFL. It's like you've sucked at this for so long that why is it when people talk about it, it becomes a priority? So yeah, you're gonna get that criticism.
Yeah, I look at it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, what years were you in Carolina, MB? Because looks like Joe Schoen started his career in Carolina.
Yeah, he was with Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon, that's why he ended up going to Buffalo, right? Mm-hmm. I think he took a detour before he went to Buffalo. I can't remember if he went directly to Buffalo or not. So for me, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, you come into the Giants because this is the Giants' really first time hiring somebody outside of the organization for a role like that. They usually like to promote within, right?
Right.
So I can see this guy coming in, and it's almost like, how the Giants, once a Giant, always a Giant. And he's like, man, I need to at least bring my own people in, And so I can see him probably seeing Kevin as a threat, even though, because Kevin, he trained under Ernie Kosi, he trained under Jerry Reese and Dave, all those guys. So, he's definitely Giant through and through. And I think definitely he earned the right to be general manager, but they bypassed him. So I can see this guy saying, hey, I want to hire my own guy to be my assistant general manager.
Double A.
I can see that, just because he could be, quote unquote, intimidated by Kevin. I don't know or what, but I can see him wanting his own guy,
Hold on. LB, I'm sorry.
What?
Double A, who around here got sleep apnea, man? Who is snoring?
Not me. Is that me breathing?
Double A, you supposed to be helping us, man. Who's snoring? I'm like, who in the world? It's wide-eyed.
I don't know. I hear it too.
That's you?
Nah, I don't know. So
is that me?
One interesting thing about Brandon Brown, I don't know, how common is it for general managers to have played in the league? Is that not common? Because it doesn't look like he has any. He never played in the pros or college.
It's more common that they've never played.
Really?
Yeah, it's not a requirement from that standpoint.
Well, no, it's not a requirement, but it seems like most of the good ones did, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Dang, really?
No. I don't think Ron Wolf ever sued him up. I know Bill Bowling never played him.
Right. Ernie, you just named Ernie.
Yeah, Ernie.
He never did.
Ernie was a reporter at one point.
The only one that really, really stands out is Ozzie. To be honest,
Newsome.
you like,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's been more. John Lynch obviously is one.
John Lynch. Martin Mayhew, I think, played in the league. The one for Detroit.
Oh yeah, Martin Mayhew did play. I think
Martin Mayhew.
Did he play in Detroit itself?
What position does he have?
Redskins.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, the Commanders. I'm sorry. Let me get that
The
right.
Commanders.
Whoa,
Commanders.
we can't have that on this show. What are you?
Sorry, Commanders.
What position is John Elway? He ain't the general manager.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of everything.
Yeah,
He's
not
Not
CEO.
this year.
Not this year.
In the past, though. He was
Okay.
They gave him every title you could have.
he was in the past, but they brought in the GM.
George Payton from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you had Matt Millen was the GM. He did
Matt Millen, but he wasn't that good though.
He did John Lynch
Still played though.
Yeah, Matt Millen was. Yeah,
but it's not a requirement though, Jason.
He had an interception in his career. Matt Millen did.
Hey, MB, I think John Elway was so titled up, he had to fire himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Hey, you think he showed up drunk to his own exit interview?
Somebody might have sold the car.
he had an argument with himself, like literally. Like
He apologized to
you
himself
ain't
for
getting
being
it
late.
done. I'm sorry, man.
I still can't get over that article that I read that he gave up 20% ownership for his guaranteed salary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that to me blows my mind.
There's no way.
Who did? John Elway?
Yes, he did. Yep.
No.
It would have been double A. It'd have been worth like $800 million a day if the team sells for $5 billion.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, it would have been. It was 20%. You know,
that was selfish. He ain't care about his kids.
But
No way.
No,
crazy
what he
thing-
said, he took the money, invested in something else, and lost.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
But the crazy thing was Bolin guaranteed. He said he goes if you want your money back, I'll give you $5 million on top of that in 5 years.
What's the least valuable team in the league? The Lions? 20% of them's worth more than anything his salary was.
Yeah.
So why would he do that?
So MB, a great question from no one.
From no one.
I try to say no one, but that's say no none.
No, none.
No.
Why don't coaches have a union like the players? And I remember when we was playing MB, there was like talk about that. That's the only thing I remember about a coaches union. Like
did they used to have one or something before?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a
Coach Association.
Yeah, it was one before, I thought, you know.
You know who's the only
it might
member?
have been an association, but that's not a union.
Not a union.
Right.
Yeah.
You know the only non-member? You know the only coach that's not a member of the Coaches Association?
Who's that?
Bill Belichick. It's like he has to find a way to just not do something.
Be different.
Yeah.
Can we clear up that? Do we really think he wrote that text, or does he make mistakes like that? Is he human?
Just an accident.
Okay.
I think so. I started laughing because it's like an older guy getting on the phone.
Hey, before that, he texted his grandson, Brian. Congratulations on the Bills job.
But you know what? What about this? Like, I don't have a problem with them hiring the dude. I just didn't like, how they already did. Because to me, once I saw the GM from the guy, the assistant GM from Buffalo, get the job at New York,
you knew it was an inside job.
He's gonna bring it Dable.
Like it was he got a relationship with it. That's his dude. So it's just a where about it. I mean, nobody would have fought him. Everybody kind of, especially with the Giants situation with Daniel Jones at quarterback, and he's got athletic similarity. I said athletic similarity to Josh Allen, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, okay, that's a slam dunk for that guy to get the job. It's just a writing on the wall. So it's not like we were shocked, but I guess just the fact when you say the way you go about getting it done,
Right.
Do you think that was part of the handshake agreement, even to get him to take that GM job? Or
it could have been, because it's no different than what the Raiders did. The Raiders like, look, hey, we're gonna sign, but we're gonna announce it on the same day. They didn't play around with it. It could have been, but I mean, to me, that guy was gonna be the front runner just because of the Giants situation. But I could see them if he was kind of torn between Leslie Frazier, because Leslie Frazier on the staff as well. So, but who you want, huh?
Somebody, I'm telling you, somebody's snoring.
Is it me?
It might be DeHaven. DeHaven, we gotta talk off. We gotta talk offline.
Some equipment.
Hey, mute your mic, Dave, and see if it does.
I got AirPods in, so I don't know how
Doesn't
that
matter,
could...
man. We're hearing that nose. That ain't working, man.
Okay, all right.
Hey, Double A.
Let me see if I take my earpods out.
After the show, man. Talk to him.
Somebody.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not allowed to diagnose.
Hey, LP, when you was talking seriously, all I could hear was,
That's not me, man.
what is that?
I don't know. I took my... Can you guys still hear it or no?
No, that was better.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that wasn't. I don't think it was.
That way trying to get the heat off him.
Yeah.
It ain't me. My nose is fixed. It works now.
Yeah, we hear you, Mafia.
Double A, I'm just glad somebody else heard it except for me, because I'm sure y'all thought I was clowning, right?
Oh man, I think
apnea doctor. Then let me go to my sleep apnea guy.
I still got to take it back to. I'm not saying he's the victim in the scenario, but man, Brian Daboll gets his shot. People been calling his shot for the last several off seasons. I'm not saying he deserves it more than Eric Bieniemy. That, in my opinion, is the most criminal non-hire several off seasons in a row. But besides that, Brian Daboll was up for jobs last year. He finally gets his job, and now nobody, cares. It's just
right.
Shouldn't have been you. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's gonna cloud everything. Is this going to impact free agency? If it's going to look toxic, if it's going to, I mean, really?
No, I don't know. I mean, for me, like I said, my reason, like you could tell, you knew, like somebody from Buffalo was going to get it because of the relationship. So it's just the way they went about doing it. It's not like a discredit to him. It's not like what's the coach at Arizona where he got fired from Texas Tech and then he get the job. You know what I'm saying? And he leapfrog the other guys. It's not like that. Like you said, this guy's well qualified to get it. It's just the way the Giants went about doing it, right?
Yeah.
That like, man, that's what's at fault. But nobody discrediting the credibility of this guy being an excellent coach or to potentially be a great head coach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope so. If you're a free agent and you got a choice, to me, this just kind of the more noise this creates, like, is this going to create like a solidarity with Brian Flores type situation where people just won't sign with the Giants if a free agent has that ability and that choice,
No, because I think this though, and get K-Lou comment about it, right? Because the Giants is not known as a racist organization in that regards, right? I mean, they how people use their defense. Well, hey, I got a black friend. Well, they can point at the past like we had a black GM.
They've always had black friends.
Yeah, so we always have, bro. You talking about
saying they're not New Orleans?
Their trainer is the vice president of. They gave him a title, with Brother Noopsy, Ronnie Barnes. So they don't. Their thing is not that. They just didn't. This was just sloppy, or they didn't do it the right way as far as that. And I don't think you got to deal with. It's not like God forbid. It's not quote unquote like the Cleveland Browns or whoever got a bad reputation or Houston Tech. It's not like that. So I think they're a family organization. The way they do things, and so I don't think it's that going to be a bigger fight. It's just how they went by doing it,
MB, are you going on the record as saying that the Cleveland Browns is a racist organization?
No, I'm not.
That's what I heard. Is that what y'all heard?
They've had like 2 African American GMs.
Saying, like the Giants is known for being a first class organization, and and so, but the way they did it, went by doing it, it was not the right way,
So if they're the least racist organization, what's the most? Back to you. Look, what were we gonna say, Caleb?
No, it really boils down to what a lot of people have said already. People smarter than me is if you're not in those circles, and how do you get in those circles? Well, you gotta in my Paul Mooney voice, you gotta have a connection that what is it? You gotta have a complexion for the connection. You know what I'm saying? That Paul Mooney was a comedian, and he would say that. And basically what he's saying is, if you're not seen as one of us, then you never even get that connection.
In the room, yeah.
But the fact that, you know, a guy can be less talented, less, you know, worthy, but he can, you know, chop it up and you know, Carlton, that thing, God done use you up to be loved by it. You know what I mean? Like, and really like reflect what you're accustomed to, what you're used to. And he's who you're gonna really, you know, side with. And so, you know, it's funny. I listened to Tony Dungy's interview, and he said, you know, he's heard those stories after he, you know, was coined as being a bad interviewer. Yeah, Tony Dungy. They were saying he didn't do well in interviews. He went to Glazier and down in Tampa and said, hey, you know, I don't curse. I use love to motivate my guys. And Glazier said, you're my guy because that's how I talk to my boys, saying to his kids. So it's like, you know, and then all of a sudden he had a great interview. You know what I mean? But they connected on that level, right? But he had to get an opportunity first.
And that was also a new owner. That wasn't an old school owner. That was a new family when they first came in. So you know.
So yeah, so it's tough. It's that thing where, you know, if you're not in those circles, and you know, black coaches just never are unless, you know, Michael Locksley, MB. You know, these coaches come out of the woodwork. Y'all just gotta, you know, pick it. You pick these articles up. But Michael Locksley spoke, and he started a black coaches, you know, association, right?
That's right.
And he said, "Look, I went to New Mexico State and stunk." Like, you know, he didn't pull a Hugh Jackson, Jason. He said, "I deserve to be fired," right? But then he said, "This is how I got in. I looked at the landscape and I say, hey, they doing what that guy over there say." So he worked his mojo to get over there with Nick Saban, and look what happened. Now he's in Maryland, and Maryland's doing so well as far as like in the African American hiring process. They not only hired him, the president's black, and the athletic director is black as well. So he was speaking about, you know, you still have to figure out ways to, how I saw it. Okay, listen, he said one thing for the interview. Black man code was, hey man, use what they want to get what you need. So since they got to have a white guy kiss the ring or bless you, then I'm gonna find the baddest white guy to go work for, and then he gonna make a phone call on my behalf, and that's what happened.
So did Bill Belichick not make a phone call on Brian Flores' behalf? I mean, he worked for the baddest, the biggest and baddest white coach ever, you know what I mean, ever in the NFL.
It seems like that's a fractured relationship even before that.
He probably did to get the Miami job. You see what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, Mike Locksley, again, these black coaches are coming out, guys, and you gotta listen to them, because it's at the end of the day, somebody's gonna be smart enough to capture all these interviews and then give a story, the story of the black coach or executive. That's what they have to go through just to get the job. Instead of
sounds like the next Bill Roden book.
I mean, do you think like it was do you think him not getting the job with the Giants, right? I mean, he's just saying it was a sham interview. I don't, and I don't think race was the case. It's just
I think
it definitely was a sham interview.
That's the thing when he talked about with the Giants.
It was both. It was a sham interview. It was, you had a Buffalo guy became the new head guy, and he wanted someone he was familiar with. And you had this rule in place, and you know, if you ain't cheating, you know, you ain't trying in the NFL, right? So you know, the issue is how do you fix the Rooney Rule, but also, you know, these guys want to be loyal to, you know, you want to bring your brothers with you, you know, no matter who they are. or what's
Fortress
that's who you coach with. So how do you do both? And that's
the hard
You see
part.
the last shoe dropped since we've been on the show. Dennis Allen
got
confirmed.
it. Yep.
That was their best shot to fix it, really. To get Brian Flores over there. But honestly, any shot, Brian, I don't think there's any way. Knowing litigation's coming, there ain't no way they'd have had a sitting coaching head coach in the NFL next season during litigation against the NFL. There's just
right. That's why I thought everybody's been giving him the names of, guys who started free agency, guys who, changed
Kurt Floyd,
the game
in
their way.
Yeah.
I think because we've already that ship done sailed.
He's
You know
done.
what I'm saying? Like, I think we all already knew what was going on. However, he signed up to be that sacrificial lamb, and I just hope more guys continue to tell their story. You know what I mean? And because for every other guy that tells their story, it adds to his story.
Does he surface back? Does he surface back up in college football?
Yeah, college football is definitely a place for him. They into all that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's where that's if I'm him and you want to still be a coach and prove you got this, that would be my next move.
Yeah, for I understand, he ain't got no rush. He's got paid like $25 million or something
to walk out the door.
So he could be a little bit. He could be choosy.
He can be maybe this time next year he could be faking that accent like Brian Kelly.
Well, hey,
family.
No none. I guess he's saying no nonsense. Maybe. I like that NFL is feeling the heat from this discrimination lawsuit, but I don't understand where was this same attention when it was brought out about NFL race norming policy. And if you guys don't remember what that was about, that was, with these CTE lawsuits, there was a different, what is that? Like a bell curve. There was a different
multiplier or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. For white players versus black players. Yeah, this really happened. Pull it up. Yeah. So white players were being able to be paid and getting money from CTE, and black players weren't. This was a huge thing. MB, I'm sure, got mail about it. I got mail about it.
You had the black doctor who was shunned for years, and they tried to discredit him. The guy that was all over it. I'm blanking on his name, but he was he was one of the early guys to say this is a problem. But it's even the way like insurance companies. I mean, they put algorithms and depending upon age, race, the whole 9 yards. That's the dirty secrets of this world right now. Yeah,
right.
I'm reading. This is one of those things that's so dumb. If you were on a game show to pick out a fake news headline, it's that one. Is that right? That is the. Yeah. What was the?
But it's reality, and that's why I want so many other black coaches and executives to come out and share their stories, because I think it's way more. It's gonna sound like, no, y'all lying. Ain't nobody do that. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he put out there, like you joked about it, Jason, that John Elway came in drunk. Like, that's how serious the interview was for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
man,
he burned down the house. He said, I'm gonna tell all the dirty laundry.
Right.
Y'all ever heard of the expression that like you see a bad headline or you see a bad rule and the explanation is worse than the rule? Read the explanation for that race norming. They didn't make it better.
Right.
They didn't. The defense made it worse. They said it was based on earning potential.
Right. Absolutely. And then when people say, does racism still exist? You'll have, definitely Dave and myself and MB just laugh. Like it doesn't deserve an answer just because of stuff like that. Like,
I'm glad they ended it so long ago. Last year. It says last year.
Yeah. Yeah, and so no nonsense. I'm gonna call it that. See, he's saying it didn't get traction? No, not even close to what this is. But it was on ESPN. It was written about. It for whatever reason. I think the reason why it didn't get traction is for the same reason why nothing gets traction in the NFL, because the players weren't talking about it.
Right.
And when Black Lives Matter, the players talked about it, and so it became front and center of the league. But that they didn't, because the players who are out there will never be that guy with CTE in their minds. You see what I mean? They'll never be that guy. So it's not something that's affecting them, immediately.
Right. And that's also the difference with an active, head coach and compared to a retired, or an active NFL player talking about it compared to a retired NFL player. Oh, that's just that crazy old guy. We don't want to hear that. So they discount you and they bury it.
Has Mike Tomlin came out and said anything? I mean, because he's probably the most.
I don't think so.
And we've, MB can kind of bring this out. I'll bring it out for you. I ain't gonna say no names, but we've talked to guys before when we did our show about this same topic, and they didn't want to get on of fear. MB, you can take it if you want.
No, go ahead. No, you explain it.
No,
they didn't want to take, they didn't want to talk about this for fear of retaliation. Like, man, I'm trying to, get in.
Right. I want a job.
And if they catch me saying this stuff, I'm done. Like, why do you? But yet, Bill Polian was on the same show saying he's doing everything he can to get more black execs and coaches, and he's calling out names that should be having a job and saying that he's making phone calls and all this stuff. And then he could go back and work tomorrow if he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just weird.
Because I think it's
MB, you can go back and listen to the show, guys. Do you remember that, MB?
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
I said, do you remember Bill Polian speaking about, how there should be more? He's doing everything he can
and the
put
stuff
more in. And he started naming guys right off the top of his head that should have jobs right now, from an executive standpoint and coaching standpoint. And what I was saying was, and he could go back tomorrow and get a job and start this thing all over again.
Right.
He's probably still under contract with someone anyways. Go ahead, Mike.
Do you think DeHaven, answer what you think about this? Do you think the Lovie Smith was a response, the hiring by the Houston Texans response to that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, just look at the situation. I mean, he was already on the staff. I think it definitely was a response to, try to do something. Yeah, I think definitely. I thought, as Double A said, that would be a good place for Brian Flores. But they went with what was comfortable. But I think it definitely was a response because they've been known to have issues at the Texans for a long time. So back when the owner said that the players were inmates and stuff like that.
Yeah, inmates was running the prison.
It's just weird though, because I'm like, how much? I know Lovie Smith was defensive, but how much different was Lovie Smith than probably David Culley? Because if you watch the Texans, they didn't play bad that year. Last year. I mean, they were terrible, but they were competitive. So it's really interesting. I think it was definitely a retaliation to that. And I guess they could say, hey, we hired our black coach. We don't have to hire Brian Flores. We did hire, a minority coach.
The question you have to ask yourself is: was Lovie the first choice, or do they know that Bieniemy and Leftwich and anyone else that might be a candidate weren't going to even sniff that job or even want that job?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think Lovie. I don't know. He might not have been the first choice.
Right.
But they said Bieniemy was still looking at New Orleans.
Right.
Up until I think it was the other day. Right. But like I said, their cap situation was in dire. I mean, I don't think that's a good job because you don't have a.
If I'm Bieniemy, I still sit back and wait for. I say, Andy Reid, it's time for you to retire and let me have Mahomes for the next 5 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If I'm Bieniemy. Yeah. I know another minority coach, D'Amico Ryans, was up for Minnesota. He turned the second one down, which is good. So he's still stick with San Francisco for a little while longer. But that goes to the point, like when can these coaches start getting selective and not go into bad situations, like a $71 million, team $71 million over the cap with no QB direction.
I hate to say it. The smartest guy coming out of this week was the old Miami quarterback, because he had a chance to go with Dabble to the Giants, and he's like, do I go with Danny, or do I stick with Josh Allen? How many times are you going to get a Josh Allen in your life?
Yeah. And maybe that's a topic, Double A. Do we have to stop just taking any job and really look at the situation and say, hey, I know we want minority, black folks these opportunities, but all of them the best situations? Like Houston was jacked up last year. Right. I mean, they were literally trying to tank.
Right. When Tomlin followed Cowher, right? But he knew he was going to that one organization that was going to have his back. It didn't matter.
They just came off a Super Bowl like 2 years before that, before Tomlin got there.
Right.
They just got off a Super Bowl. I mean, you had Jim Caldwell, who took over a good Indianapolis team, but the line shafted him. I think Indianapolis kind of shafted him because I think the year they went back, he got fired. Peyton got hurt with the neck injury. Then they drafted Andrew Luck.
The Ford family has no history of racism in this country. Let's just be clear about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to go there.
I appreciate DeHaven answering my question of who's the most racist.
That's probably number one.
So we're going to touch on the Pro Bowl sucks or what?
You can. Go ahead.
The Pro Bowl is what it is. It's been like that for the last long time, MB. Feel like to me, at least the last 10 years.
I liked when they did that Sand Bowl, but Robert Edwards tore up his knee, and they never did that again.
Yeah.
I thought, or go to flag football. At least let the guys play. Go 7-on-7 or something.
Just take it out of Vegas so players don't get in fights in nightclubs.
Bro,
no! Wow.
Oh man, Alvin Kamara.
Players. Yeah, he's looking at, I think, 1 to 5. Serious body.
No. There you go.
You're in Nevada.
You don't plead that down.
This is Nevada.
This Nevada,
it's
right?
on video.
It's mandatory, right?
It's on video, man.
It's on video.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What happened on the video? You seen it? I didn't see it.
No, they
got it.
Metro PD said the video is conclusive.
Yeah.
You never want to hear conclusive before booking.
Don't they usually pay the witness? I mean, the victims though. Can he write the victim a check and the victim doesn't show up?
What's that legalese? A victim actually cannot accept. Hold on. What is it? A victim cannot accept a settlement prior to. There's something. There's something like he can get something, but Alvin's gonna have to sign on the dotted line first, or something. They won't allow. Most states.
This guy don't He got him on videotape, and he don't fracture his bone structure and stuff, face structure.
Oh my god!
And the thing is, I'm sure
they say he hit him like 8 times.
Maybe the dude provoked it.
Around him was stumping on him.
Alvin, that's not good,
man.
Yeah, so that's not good at all.
He brought the buddies out.
We lost Kalu. He had to run.
Yeah.
What was that Chris Carter said at that rookie symposium? You need to surround yourself with friends that'll take the fall for you if they want to hang out and be in a circle.
Be an entourage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but shoot, they got him on camera. They got him on camera hitting somebody.
He getting he might be suspended all next year. That New Orleans job, Dennis Allen is just like, my God.
Well, he's a defensive coach, so we're gonna have to rely.
Well, shoot. Yeah, I mean, he's a defense coach, and you need your top running back to keep the chain moving because you don't know who you got quarterback.
Yeah, Michael Thomas is already leaving town. Now you're gonna lose. Now Camaro's gonna be suspended. He'll lose a year.
Michael Thomas is leaving town.
He's unhappy.
Yeah, he's unhappy.
Well, he's gonna try to force the trade, but he's under contract.
Yeah,
but they're over the cap.
My dad got a comment there, and what does it say? I think you guys need to realize that the system has changed. Lovie Smith.
Yeah.
I think your dad's right. I mean, that's why it is a comfortable hire.
He ain't gonna mess anything up. No. You can count on him. You can trust him.
Jason, what if they go 4-13 again? 3-13, 3-14 again? They still don't have talent.
It's Houston. They're all right with that. They're like another one. Okay, all right.
I mean, I love Lovey as a person, but you think what you think about that hire? You know, like you look at, is there other deserving candidates, especially black candidates? You know,
Right.
That's a good point. I mean, because he didn't do well in Illinois, did he?
no.
Yeah, well, he had some upsets. He did. He beat. He did. I promise you. He was on Sports Center beating a ranked team.
He'd do any better than Ron Turner?
Yeah. He got fired at Illinois.
I know he got fired, but he had a ranked team upset
on
Sports Center year before last.
Well, that was this year. They what's the name had some upset. They had the 7th overtime against Penn State. Penn State was ranked at the time, I think it was.
Yeah.
Oh.
But Brett Bielema is the coach of Illinois now, isn't he? The guy from Wisconsin.
Yeah, Brett Bielema. Yeah, but I mean, you can't go wrong with Lovett. I mean, he's a great guy.
No.
Can he get Deshaun Watson to play ball for them? Or is that
I don't think
done?
they want
Right.
that. You know, I don't think they want that anymore.
See.
Especially the other quarterback has shown some flash. He's finished the season strong. What, Mills?
Yeah, they got him in the 3rd round, so they owe him no money.
Yeah, so they want to move him. I don't think they want that. You know.
He beat 2 Michigan State teams that were ranked and a Minnesota team that was ranked in Illinois.
In how many years? He was there 4 years, right?
It was 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. But I mean, if Bieniemy wasn't going to take it for Deshaun, that's really the cloud over them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe they couldn't get anybody because Byron was all in Jacksonville.
But he didn't want Trent Baalke.
Yeah,
he didn't like the GM. He wanted to bring
that. And that's why I agree with what your dad said, DeHaven. I just think a call was made, and it's like, look, we got to let's go with Lovey. He's comfortable hire. Yeah. Get this thing done. Especially if what you said earlier, Jason, was true about how he was sitting in on the interview. That's unusual for the defensive coordinator to sit in on the interviews if that's true. So it's almost like, okay, they respect his opinion. They try,
like he was a consultant or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like my baby's about to retire or something like that. Sitting in these interviews.
So why not? If he's sitting in on the interview, why not let him be a mentor to a young black coach and give a young black coach a job?
Yeah, but who? Could be. I don't know the details.
It's sort of like how they used to do. What's this guy named Romeo Cornell used to do that, right?
Well, Romeo was the interim. Yeah, he was. Yeah, when he was on the staff before they hired this guy last year, Romeo was. He was the interim coach on the.
Romeo was older though. He's a lot older.
I think Houston's such a mess. They're just kind of lucky to get who they can get. I think they're kind of outside of this conversation where they could pick. I think the problem in Houston is who you're going to get to take the job. I think that's what that was.
You've seen guys interview for the job, so I don't think it's a lack of people wanting a job. Maybe
Well, I mean, candidates better than Lovey. I mean, who interviewed for the job?
I left with Bieniemy, I think, right? Let's pull it up. Who interviewed? So I don't think you got the guys to interview. I don't know behind the doors, like as far as getting somebody to say yes to the dress, right? But
Josh McCown interviewed for it twice.
Now, if they'd have gave Josh McCown the job, I'd have filed a suit against the NFL.
Josh McCown, man.
But here's about relationship because the general manager for the Texans came from New England.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. He did. Casario did come from New England.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So
Jonathan Gannon interviewed Kevin O'Connell, Joe Lombardi, John Ward. They didn't interview anybody. Byron Leftwich did not interview for that job or Bieniemy.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. I thought
that must have been last year.
That's a cover, man. They had to clean up their mess before they got in more trouble.
Who was Jonathan Gannon? Who was he?
Hey, Brian Flores did interview
from the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's right.
Flores did have an interview there. Interesting.
Yeah, he interviewed on the 31st. Leftwich did not.
Okay, I'm trying to pull it up.
I think Leftwich might be waiting to see what Bruce Arians does.
Yeah. Hines Ward interviewed.
I would
Hines Ward?
Yeah, they interviewed the Josh McCloud or something like that.
Josh McCown, yeah. They say he had 2 interviews. He just retired like last year.
Joe Lombardi.
You said what? Yeah, he just retired. Yeah.
Joe Lombardi is the offensive coordinator for the Chargers.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
I know Bill O'Brien did an interview.
It says Kevin O'Connell interviewed before he took the Minnesota job.
yeah.
Why wouldn't they be talking to Kellen Moore? Isn't that the everyone loved the Cowboys OC or whatever?
What
I don't think
for McCarthy get fired? As they said, Dan Quinn was going to go before Kellen Moore,
That's what I thought.
but Dan Quinn took his name out. Right, the Denver job. I think Dan Quinn said
Right.
he was offered and didn't want it. He wanted to stay at the Cowboys. Maybe Jerry.
He figures Kellen Moore will go next year, and then Sean Payton will come in, and he'll be Sean Payton's defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we go, we got to talk about the 49ers, man. Where you think Jimmy G? What's the deal with Jimmy G, DeHaven? Where is he going to be at?
I don't think it matters to me anymore, MB. As long as he's out of the Bay Area.
I thought you was working a trade.
Jimmy, no, I'm working a trade. I am working a trade. The ask is a second and third round pick. There's two. I think Tampa Bay could be interesting. Maybe he follows Brady again. If Jameis Winston doesn't return to Tampa Bay, which there's rumors that he might.
I can tell you for 100% that ain't happening, Dave.
Another place that I would watch. There's two other places I'd watch for Jimmy G. The Washington Commanders. I think them or Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I really think he'd be decent in Pittsburgh.
I don't know, man.
He's a Pittsburgh type of guy. They got weapons. He needs a defense. I mean, their defense he's
got a lot of Mark Malone to him if you think about it.
I'm really thinking about either Pittsburgh, Tampa, or Washington are my three. And maybe to Houston because the GMK, but they, like you said, they have a nice young quarterback.
Tampa drafted Trask in the second round. So
I don't know if Trask.
Yeah, but he's not proven.
Right.
That's what I would say. But they drafted him high. They're going to give him a shot.
If Bruce Arians stays, I wonder if they go. They do look at a Jimmy G. But I really either see Washington or Pittsburgh.
Denver wouldn't be a bad place for a manager.
Yeah, I mean, to me, is Jimmy G an upgrade over Bridgewater? And Bridgewater played well. He got hurt last year.
He can't stay on the field is the problem with Bridgewater.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, Drew Lock is a quarterback in Denver, and I don't care how wrong they are about it. But over Bridgewater, I would say Jimmy G is.
Well,
before you answer any of that, where does Aaron Rodgers go? Is he going to Denver? Is that a done deal?
He said no already.
Huh?
He put out.
He said no.
They said the Titans said they're sticking with Tannehill.
No, he's saying is he going to Denver?
Yeah.
Oh, Denver?
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. I would if I was him because I don't want to be in the division with Mahomes and Herbert.
Yeah, and then I mean, you leave the Packers, right? I mean, even though they got this year, their salary cap is tight. I mean, you gotta pull Tom Brady, man. The bar has been set high. And Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, both of them left and got championships, man. So, I mean, for him to leave, well, I mean, he got to get a championship, man. And I don't think Denver's got a young team. They got some talent, but I don't think.
I like the Indy idea, and I can see him in Pittsburgh.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if I see Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
Joe Burrow,
but Pittsburgh,
Lamar Jackson.
But Pittsburgh don't have they're not
ready to go.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Even Najee Harris.
Jimmy G at Pittsburgh, but you got what? Najee Harris. I mean, but
they got Claypool when he wants to play. Deontay Johnson's a nice young receiver. The tight end Pat Fairmouth is getting. I mean, he was a rookie, but he caught a lot of balls last year.
But the O line, though,
that's true. The O line is shaky.
The
O line is shaky. Like I said, I think you said at MB last week that a couple weeks ago, Aaron Rodgers' best place would probably be Tennessee to go do.
Yeah, but they can't. Yeah, now, but Tennessee, the contract, I guess, of Tannehill.
Yeah, Tannehill's contract is.
They can't.
Could y'all see?
I don't know who else.
Say that again.
Tampa, yeah.
They won't ship him. They won't ship him in the conference. There's no way. I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I mean, if they held that line with Favre, they'll hold it again. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, there's not too much turnover there at that organization. I mean, that's the only city-owned organization left.
If they could send him to Siberia, that's where they like to send him.
And Indiana's just like it. So
I think who mentioned Indianapolis? Oh, you mentioned
Yeah, Jason did. He's been on that from day one. I think you're right. I mean, it's a good fit. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Irsay is not happy with Carson Wentz neither.
And that was the other. They mentioned Carson Wentz in Tampa, and I was like, ooh.
Irsay,
I bet they ship Wentz straight back to Green Bay. I bet Love gets shipped to make to get some pieces. I think Carson Wentz, because he's from North Dakota, so not too far. I don't know. I know that doesn't really matter, but you know what I mean. But I think Carson Wentz is throwing interceptions in Wisconsin next year.
Yeah, I mean Irsay was really upset with Reich, and he pulled him into the office like after that loss to Jacksonville, this ain't gonna get it done.
Only thing with that is that they don't have the draft capital to get it done because they gave up a first and a third for
That's right.
Wentz.
To the Eagles,
Because with Aaron Rodgers, he's gonna at least get 3 first round. I mean, you would think, right?
What players would they send?
Not 3. I don't think he gets the deal.
Defense would have to be. They don't have. They can't give up Taylor, and they have no receivers.
I mean,
I think they'll get Michael Thomas.
If they need Aaron, then they need some receivers. They don't. I mean, they got O-line maybe that got some draft value. I know they're not going to give up Leonard, the middle linebacker. Because now they change the defensive coordinators. Like Gus Bradley is in there.
Yeah, because their guy got the Chicago job.
Yeah.
What could Pittsburgh give them? I mean, Pittsburgh's got the draft capital because they historically don't give it up.
The draft capital,
Yeah,
they can get the draft. They can give them the draft pick. They got a first round draft pick this year, so they can get that.
Tampa doesn't have the draft capital to give up. So I mean,
they don't.
Who did they give up? They did something for someone. I'm on a totally unrelated issue. I remember somebody remarking that Tampa Bay is missing some picks.
They're missing a draft pick this year.
I know they got a bunch of free agents. I know they got a ton of free agents though.
Yeah, because they re-signed everybody. I don't think
last year, but it was like a lot of money
to get nobody. I know they trade up that one year, Tom Brady first year, I think, to get they stayed put and got the offensive lineman who's pretty good.
Worse. Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah.
Maybe it was last year then. They got to pick every round. Oh no, they sent a 6th round pick to the Jets for McClendon. That's what it was. And last year they gave up a 3rd. Okay, so they're good this year.
They got a bunch of free agents though. They got tons of like Fournette and
they got a lot
of free agent.
Yeah.
They got a lot of free agents.
But Wentz was a 1st round pick at one point, so that's something.
Your value is current, not in your past.
What was that year? 2017, he was an MVP candidate. That's going on like 5. That's a half a decade ago.
Yeah,
but
then your backup comes in and wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
if you can ignore the conference part, the team that's got to give it to them is the 49ers. They can send Jimmy G and Deebo Samuel.
We'll have no 1st round pick, and we're not sending no Deebo Samuels nowhere.
Deebo's
right
untradeable.
now. Don't ever send Deebo Samuel anywhere.
Hey, Sample. They'll send Sample with him. Sample's been catching some ball. Oh wait, no, Sample's in KC.
You know who I would potentially send? I would potentially send Kittle.
Yeah.
What?
I'd potentially send Kittle.
You send Kittle?
I would potentially send Kittle back.
Y'all don't have enough offensive power. I mean, Debo and Kittles and the running game. Those, I mean, you send Rick Kittles. I mean,
you send Kittle.
They could double Dabo.
It's injury concerns, though. It's injury concerns.
Aaron will get off the plane and get right back on.
Let's go further up north. What's going on with that Seattle team and Russell?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is he sitting still again? Is that done deal? He's there forever?
He's got a big cap hit too.
I think so, man. I think so. Just because, I mean, they brought back Pete Carroll. I mean, he's up in age. I mean, I can't see them trading Russell, and for what? It's not a strong quarterback draft.
Yeah, that'd be a total gut. And actually, Seattle actually has cap space this year for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, so I don't see that, like them getting rid of Russell. Because who are you gonna replace him with?
I'm just last year he was itching to get out of there.
I know, but
You know,
Towards the end of the year, though, believe it or not, they didn't look that bad. At the end, I know nobody was really playing for anything, but the end of the year, Rashad Penny started stepping up. They've got weapons. I think their identity now is not defense anymore. Their defense was porous, but it's I think they're going to try to go out and make one more run on offense, unless his wife says she wants a bigger city, a bigger market. But I mean, he's a global star already, so
he's global.
yeah, but he's got 2 years on his deal. I mean, he could try to force a trade, but
it's going to be hard to come through that West with San Fran and the Rams and whatever happens with Arizona.
That's
regardless.
what I'm saying. And
Seattle always beats us anyway. So,
but I'm saying like I don't see Pete, because Pete got final say on personnel. I don't see him signing off on that
because they have an absentee owner, don't it? It's like Paul Allen's wife. I mean, his sister, right? She doesn't.
Jody Allen.
Yeah, she's not really involved because.
Well, they met with her and stuff, but I just don't see. I don't know. I mean, let's Russell continue to force their hand. I just don't see from a Seattle standpoint, because it's like tolerated till you replace. Like, who you going to replace Russell with? Who's out there?
And they're kind of built around him too.
Yeah.
Huh?
They're built around him too. Like it's his
and they
style
want to
of play.
win now. Everything they're doing is.
Who has more say, John Schneider or Pete?
Huh?
Who has more say in the organization, John Schneider or Pete?
I think Pete.
Pete.
Yeah, Pete's final. Yeah. He's got final say.
It's been a decade since they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's been a decade.
That 4th and 1 was that was it.
That'll haunt your career. You know it.
What did Sherm say? They never got over that.
Never got over it, bro.
Hand the ball to beast mode.
Yeah, that's for real. That affected the following year.
Yeah.
15. Oh, you were there at 15. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Russell staying just because you can't replace him, but and I know Seattle still wants to win.
Yeah, like I said, they got a little money this year. It's rare that Seattle has money. They don't have any draft picks though because of that Jamal Adams trade, which might not.
What if Tennessee or Indy said, Russell, we want you?
Tennessee can't.
They can't move Tannehill, huh?
They can't move Tannehill.
I don't think Seattle would take Wentz because he doesn't play their style of ball. He's not, they're not really set up for just pocket passing.
No, they need, because their line is not really always.
Russell's running for his life.
But like I said, I think they got 50
but
million.
Wentz is athletic. No?
He's glass, but he's athletic.
He's more athletic than me? Does that count? I think because look at their route tree. I mean, Metcalf's always having to run comebacks. I mean, it's over the top for a comeback. It's. I think. Go ahead, David. You see?
I was gonna say now, Indy might not be a bad place for somebody like Jimmy G.
Yeah.
To me, like, why would you go Jimmy G and Carson Wentz like the same? Like Jimmy G, to me, he lost value doing a playoff.
He did.
So did Wentz. He didn't even get him to the playoffs.
Yeah, say at least the 2 years he started, almost every game they made deep runs. But I don't know how you value. I never played the game, so I don't know how you value intangibles.
Yeah, I guess I'm just talking about this playoff, man. I mean,
this playoff.
That's what I'm talking about this year. Like God,
he lost. He lost the NFC Championship.
All he had to be was Jeff Hostetler.
This era was just to win. They overcame this errors a few times just to win, right?
All he had to do was Brad Johnson.
It was a one-possession game.
Brad Johnson,
he couldn't move the ball when he got the heat. When Aaron Donald, he make plays with his feet, man. He's not
against Aaron Donald and Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey.
But if he could just, you got to be able to at least get some first downs. He got negative 3 yards in the fourth quarter.
He can't play from behind. That was a fact. You could once you gave up that lead, that game was over.
Well, DeHaven, you better hope
and blitz him.
You better hope whoever's trading for him ain't watching this show and listening to you, because they're gonna be like, your director of player personnel, he sucks.
Jimmy G's gonna be playing for Lovey.
Yeah. Hey. Is it definite trade? I mean, they won't release, right? No chance.
We want a second. We want either a second or third.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
third is a
trade
third
value. it's definitely a market. He's a bridge quarterback, so it's definitely a market.
Hey, DeHaven, you might want that, but that's not what you get.
Well, does he have a big cap hit? Like, are they just like, we're not going to carry the hit?
Well, he's $25 million from us, but only $1 million is dead money. So we can release him and save $25 million, and the 49ers have to extend Debo and Kittle. I mean, Debo and Bosa. So we got to trade him. This is a done deal. He's going to get traded.
He can get
But
way.
he's good. He's like the Alex Smith. Didn't Alex Smith get some money when he left the 49ers?
But if they release him, they save 25 with only 1 million dead. They might release him.
He's a trade. Yeah,
I think he's gonna get released, and he's gonna be playing either in Carolina or in Washington.
Stop it.
You can take y'all take Jimmy G. He gets into the NFC.
He's an upgrade over Darnold.
Grabs, man. NFC South is up for grabs next year. Y'all can win that with Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
I know. So why do we need Sam Darnold 2.5? Like,
I know, right?
We need Deshaun Watson is what we need, and we need to stop talking about anything else. Here's the thing.
Hey, Jimmy G playoff stats, right? He averaged 178 yards passing. 178-yard passing. He threw 2 touchdowns. He threw 3 interceptions and sacked 4 times. His quarterback rating was a 72.
That's a deal.
Yeah, it was. Trust me, I was at most of the games. It was brutal. it was brutal, but he's a good leader.
Is that how you lost your hair?
He's a good leader. That accounts for something. He's got some intent. He also was injured. His thumb and his shoulder was sprained. I mean, he's a good stop-back quarterback, and he creates his value by helping Trey Lance out. You get him for a year or two.
San Francisco director of player personnel. See how he builds him right back up?
Yeah, he built him back
5
up.
minutes ago.
He gave the reason why he didn't have good success, his thumb, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he's a very capable. I mean, 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. I mean, 2 of the last 3 NFC championships. Who's been in there? Yeah. James Richard Garoppolo.
No, you got the whole name now.
All right, before we go, speaking of Super Bowl, who you got, DeHaven? Super Bowl. Who you got?
I want the Bengals to whip the brakes off the Rams. I can't stand the Rams. Like the New York Yankees football. They buy championships, trying to buy championships.
Ooh, that hate. Now, if that was the 49ers, you'd be like, man,
What's the score?
Winning.
What's the score?
I'm going to go 28-24 Cincinnati.
Okay.
No field goal?
Got, Jason?
24 is a field goal.
But I mean by Cincinnati if they 28. I'm gonna do I'm gonna say 34-23 Rams. I just feel like Aaron Donald and Von Miller, I feel like that team is built to hold Cincinnati back pretty well.
Yeah. That way, who you got?
I'm gonna go 24-21 Bengals.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, I'm gonna go 24-21, but I'm going with the Rams. I just think that the pressure, the D line, the line's gonna be the key.
That's the difference. Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll say this: I think the coolest stat is that you might have a third generation Shula win a Super Bowl. So as a Miami guy, I think that's pretty cool.
Chris Shula, the linebacker coach for the Rams.
Yeah. Joe Burrow is not Jimmy G. He can move a little bit.
Right quick, do you think the Rams are a tougher task for the Bengals defensive coordinator than the Chiefs were?
I think what now?
Do you think the Rams are a tougher task for the Bengals defense than the Chiefs? I think they prevent.
I'd rather face Stafford than Mahomes 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
The only thing is Stafford is really good against the blitz. That does not bother Stafford. He actually excels against the blitz.
Ask Tampa.
Yeah. And I think the Rams got a little bit of better running game than they're more committed on running the ball, so that should help out Stafford. But right now, Stafford is like, which quarterback going to make the least amount of mistakes? And I think Burrow was probably Stafford. I still don't trust.
Really?
He's never wilted in the moment, though, Burrow. Not yet.
Not yet.
No moment bigger, though.
It's the biggest one. I'm going to go with Joe.
Joe's win championships, right?
Yeah.
They do.
Montana, Flacco.
If Burrow gets this one, I'm telling y'all, gonna start
Will we name it?
get a couple.
Who is Cincinnati's backup just in case he gets put? Just in case.
Brandon Allen.
Brandon Allen.
Yeah, from Arkansas.
Who is that?
Exactly.
All right. Who's LA's backup?
Who is LA's backup?
John McVay.
What happened to that little guy that started that playoff game for golf that played well?
Oh yeah, he did play good.
He did. That kid was a gamer. Who was that guy?
Oh yeah, he was good.
What happened to him? He got put out in that game and didn't finish.
Yeah, he was good.
He just disappeared. He just fell off the face of the earth after that. Is he still there? Maybe is he the backup? If he's the backup, I got confidence in LA's backup.
Okay, so you expect to see the backup, man?
I think maybe Cincinnati. You might. I mean, how many times Burrow's been sacked? Now you got Aaron Donald and Von Miller. I feel like they
and Leonard Floyd. I mean, they're
they can do anything Tennessee did better.
As long as they're playing down, as long as they're playing downhill.
Huh?
As long as they're playing downhill.
Exactly.
Then it's over if the Bengals have to play catch up.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Bengals play catch up against. Well, yeah. KC's.
Well, but here's the thing. Other thing though, too. You got to keep in your back pocket though. The Bengals coach came from the Rams, so he knows the Rams inside out.
Yeah.
He knows. I mean, especially you talk about the offense. I mean, he knows the Rams. He was a quarterback coach at the Rams, so quarterback, receiver. So he knows the Rams system. He knows the checks. He knows all that. Knows how they're going to attack them. So that's going to be definitely a huge advantage for Cincinnati in that regards. Well, for both teams, because both teams going to know each other. The Rams going to know their offense, you know.
And this the youngest head coach matchup ever?
Huh?
This is the youngest head coaching matchup ever in the Super Bowl.
Is it?
Yeah. I officially feel old. These guys are all born in the 90s. It's
Are they?
I think it's 90s or mid 80s. What are they? 36, 38?
Yeah, so I don't know. It's going to be – I think this is where the talent takes over. I think the Rams are a little more talent, especially on defense and offense. I mean, you talk about OBJ, Cooper Kupp, you know. I mean, that's the thing we need to talk about. They talk about MVP. Kupp, man. Kupp name need to be ringing hard for the MVP, man.
He's put up crazy numbers this year.
Yeah.
17-game season.
Yeah.
Can we –
You said what?
Forget Cooper Kupp, man.
17 games.
He's got catches, yards, and TDs, man. That's hard to ignore.
Hey, like the Rooney rule, we're gonna get the Cooper Kupp rule every year. Honorable mention, leading white receiver shares the co-MVP of the league.
Hunter Renfro's neck. I saw Hunter Renfro in the Pro Bowl though.
Yeah, he caught one.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be the Hunter Renfro Award.
All right, fellas, man. I appreciate y'all, man. You guys have a great week. We'll see you, Lord willing. See you next Monday, man.
Go Bengals.
Y'all take care, man. All right, Sideline2Baseline, we out. Peace.
Later.
God, we thank you, Jesus.